Hey everyone, it's Pat Brown here, bringing out another race review of the Giro Crit, which is typically a part of a three-race series that is put on by Skyline Cycling. But well, because of COVID and that, they reduced the permit, so we just have the Crit today, and you'll see later in the video that I teamed up to guest ride with Doylestown bike works here, and so we're working together right now. There's a guy or two up the road, so we're working to try to bridge across to it. But it appears that we didn't have enough of a snap, which means that the whole group was behind us. So um, it was great to ride with these guys again. A little bit tough because we hadn't really been riding that much together, but still a lot of fun here. We can see now around 12 or so minutes to go, Bill Elliston takes off. And now that's a pretty good launching pad, that incline there. And so really, I should have been on that. So as a team, there's no one up the road, and so I should have been right on that, following these wheels instead of putting out just around threshold or a little bit less. Definitely should have put on the gas, covered that, so then we'd have numbers up the road, even if it was just one guy. So right now we're kind of in no man's land, um, and just trying to do my best to follow moves, but really should have been on that a little bit quicker. And really, so even though it's only around 12, 13 minutes in, that ended up being the move that went up the road and stayed. So you never know the right group of guys, but no matter what, you need to get the odds in the team's favor, and that was on my shoulders at that point. So definitely made a mistake there. All right, now we can see just later that lap. Again, I had the opening. I should have had my head on a swivel there. That guy ended up making it up to the break, and teams represented back here, so they're not going to chase. So another great opportunity that unfortunately I missed. You can see we're not looking forward to chasing that back. Um, so really should have been on that um, right when that happened and being ready to follow moves, because that with that group up the road, they got a good gap. So we're a little bit later in the race here, about 21 minutes in, 22 minutes in, and there's a great opportunity. So at this point in the course, this is where everything kind of slows down. We have a right, crosswind that's ahead, left to right. And so this would have been a really good point in time to stay on the gas, come through the turn in front of those riders, and then that would force those riders to chase, and I'd be able to carry a lot more momentum through that turn. So definitely a missed opportunity there. And so then now we have to put out a lot more power just to stay on a wheel rather than forcing the other teams to chase. All right, here's another great opportunity where again the guys are kind of slowing down here on the right, and so moving up on the left is perfect. I have some teammates on my wheel, and I can see a guy starts to take off for this turn. Now, instead of backing off, that would have been a great opportunity with a teammate on my wheel and a teammate on the front to stay on the gas, yell to that rider who was on the front to swing wide, so that he can let Chris, the teammate behind me, as well as um, uh, myself, to get through that turn first, possibly close the gap after, to bridge forward and try to work together to bring back that break, and by bridging across to it without towing a bunch of guys to the line. So that was another missed opportunity. Definitely a good point in the course to make that happen. And again, after with that crosswind, that head crosswind, that could have definitely that could have definitely made a difference with being able to possibly get across at this point. So looking right, I see I have a teammate on that. So I'm good to rest a little bit after making that initial acceleration. All right, so this is another point. I had some good momentum. Now the wind is coming from the right to the left, but I had some good momentum. It seemed like people were kind of slowing down. So at this point, I thought it was good to put in a little dig just above VO2 max stuff, uh, and see what I can do to make some other teams work, keep the speeds a little higher, and just keep them a little bit more consistent. Because that's really what was going to be able to bring back the break at this point, which I believe we don't have any riders in it at this point. But luckily, there is a bridge that will occur a little bit later that allows for that allowed two of our teammates to get up to the lead group. So I ended up getting caught here. Definitely, I am not someone who typically is good for a longer bridge move, but definitely good to keep on the power and make some other teams work and chase me to tire them out a little bit. All right, just another time where we're just covering moves here, making some other teams work, and uh, And so because I had the opening and I was right by this move, then it was perfect for me to be able to cover it. And then always up this hill was always a pretty big surge. Again, just covering this move. Now, basically, this move was with just over 2 laps to go. So as we go through the start finish line here, it'll be 2 laps to go. So definitely something that could definitely be dangerous. So super important that I cover this and that we bring them back, or at least have guys up in this move to be able to get a better finishing place out of it. But we have no problems saving some energy and bringing these guys back. So now fast forward one more lap. Now in the meantime, right after we crossed the start finish time last time with 2 to go, Chris, the teammate here from Doylestown Bike Works, he got to the front. He kept the speeds nice and consistent. Some guys kind of started moving forward and trying to go off the front, but he was perfect to keep everything together. As they tired, he brought them back. So perfect lead out duties there. Um, and so at this point, I'm sitting fifth wheel. We have Andy on my wheel. He's sitting sixth wheel. And so I'm thinking that this will be perfect. There's enough guys to last until we go for the finish. But again, we need to be careful for the swarm behind, which and this tailwind, everyone starts feeling good in a tailwind, especially with the draft. So they start moving up, and that's when Andy tells me to start moving up. So unfortunately, and my hopes for the sprint were over, and I started moving up to keep the pace high, because we needed a little bit of a surge in speed to keep those guys from swarming Andrew here. So I tell Chris to move right, so then I'm getting a good draft here, and I'm hoping that he's able to hold just for as long as he can, so then I don't have to do quite as much work to get Andrew to hopefully to the top of the hill. But as you'll see, that didn't quite work. He gets the elbow, gives me the elbow, so it's my time to start making this happen, stringing it out, making sure that I give Andrew a good wheel to follow here. So I looked back at the power analysis, and for this last minute that I was working on the front, I averaged around 530 or so watts. So pretty good for about a minute at the end. Definitely not the highest that I've seen, but a pretty good lead out nonetheless. And so I'm hoping to carry as much speed as possible around this turn to give Andrew a good setup for the finish. So coming around the final turn here, I'm looking at taking him to the top, but I see he just starts to punch it, and that's a good launching pad for him. So that was pretty much the race for me. Glad I could help get Andrew that field sprint, um, which he's a strong rider, so no doubt there he'll be able to take it regardless. But it was a good race. Definitely some mistakes here, some things to look at improving, and and hopefully I'll be able to ride again here with those guys in the future. But we'll have to see at this point. So don't forget to like and subscribe here, and we'll catch you on the next one.